Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Wednesday's wrap up. That's what I'm calling it today. But I've read so many books this month that I had to have a mid-month wrap up. So let's just jump into all the books I've read this month so far. I'm going to do them in order of the books that I've read. And then, so in order that I read them. Sorry, not sure why I had to be so weird about it. So the first couple I gave really low ratings. The first book I read was The Incredible Journey by Sheila Burnford. So let me just say that I grew up watching The Incredible Journey, the movies, the one, I think this is the first, Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, and then there's Homeward Bound, Escape from San Francisco or something to that effect, and I absolutely loved the movies. However, the book is not really, it's about the dogs and the cat, but it's not from their perspective. They don't talk. And I just felt very like not one of their friends. I did not feel sad that they were lost. And that's exactly why I read it, because I wanted to feel sad. I wanted to be heartbroken for them. And I wasn't. So I gave this a 2 stars. And I am definitely the unpopular opinion on this book because everyone else was reading it 5 stars. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And it was nothing like the movies. And I just wanted it to be more like the movies. So, yeah. Then I read a book recommended by my friends, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which is a classic, and classics are very much out of my comfort zone. So I tried to read it. I did read it, but I gave it 2 stars. I can't really tell you what the point of this book was, other than it took place in the 1920s with some very unlikable characters who like to go to dinner or parties together. I don't even know. And I found it very boring, and I just didn't care for it. And then, right when I was actually, I don't have this book, the physical copy, with me anymore. It's at my other house because I'm in the middle of moving. But I finally read Peter Pan by J.M. Barrier, and I gave it 2 stars. Lucky number 2, right? So, everyone knows the story of Peter Pan to some extent, at least the Disney, and I just didn't love it. I didn't like it at all, actually. I don't understand why they did that to Captain Hook. That was just terrible. And I didn't feel anything for the characters. And if I don't feel anything when I'm reading, if it doesn't break my heart, if I don't smile with the characters and cry when they cry, then I don't think it's a good book. That's just me, personally. So I only gave that a 2 stars, and I just didn't care. And that's why it was so low for me. And then, right when I was about to give up on reading for the month and just be like, I'm done, just whatever, I got a blessing of a book. And I feel weird saying that because of the content in this book. But I read By the Time You Read This, I'll Be Dead by Julianne Peters. And this was heartbreaking and emotional and amazing all at the same time. But I definitely have to tell you about some trigger warnings. There's bullying, sexual assault, and suicide, and attempted suicides as well. But I kind of figure that goes in the same thing. And okay, so you follow Daylin Rice, who is this girl on the cover who's depressed. She doesn't care about the world anymore. She doesn't see anything good in the world anymore. She just wants it to be over. She's just done. And she's tried multiple times to kill herself. And when her last attempt didn't go so well, she ends up in a neck brace. She can't eat because she tried to slit her own throat, okay? And she's like, I'm done. I'm done. So she joins a website called throughthelight.com, which you kind of go on and you make a profile like you would Facebook. You put in all your information, and based on that, they give you a username. It's like JDoe and then your birthday. And then there's forums that you can write on, discussion boards, and polls that you can take about why you've chosen to leave the world in the way that you are going to. And they help you. They list different ways of killing yourself and how effective they are and how painful they are, and different things like that are supposed to be resources to help her. And that brings up a lot of issues about the internet. Is that ethical and things like that? But not only that, okay, so when she makes the profile, it says, when do you want to exit this earth, or when do you want to enter the light? And she says today. It says error, invalid. Tomorrow, error, invalid. And she keeps adding a day to it until it finally says, okay, you can do that, which is 23 days. So she goes on this site for 23 days, and she tells complete strangers why she's going to do it, how she's going to do it. And so it's essentially you listening to this teenager tell a group of strangers why she's going to murder herself, why she's going to commit suicide, how she's going to do it, and all that craziness. And it starts out at 23 days, and then the days go down to 13 days. And through this, it goes all the way down, but I was just showing you. So through this, you kind of fall in love with Daylin. At least I did. Like, I felt every time she got bullied, I felt it. And I had so much empathy for her. And I think it's because at one point, many years ago, I was that girl. Like, I didn't see the good in the world, and I didn't care. And maybe not to the extent that she does, or I didn't go through everything that she did. But it was just so heartbreaking and emotional, and it completely wrecked me. So if you want a book that's going to completely wreck you, it's going to make you so emotional, pick this up. I definitely recommend it. I love hard-hitting subjects like this. I do have to put every trigger warning label on this, but it was amazing, and I was emotional for like a week afterward, and it's still like right here in my heart. It was maybe the best book of the year thus far. I don't know how anything's gonna top it. Okay, I think I gushed about that book too long. So the next one that I read was Seafire by Natalie Parker. Now, this one I'm kind of on the fence about. So, let me show you. This first 7 chapters, first 70 pages, was epic, adventurous, and amazing. And again, it was pretty heartbreaking at the beginning. And that's what I love. So I loved that. And then about chapter 42, about 360 pages in. So this ending right here, this was the most unexpected, best ending to a book I could ever imagine. And this was the most epic start to a book. And then right here, this middle part, let's just toss the middle part. It was just boring, and I thought that it would be fun because it's sisterhood, it's pirates, it's a sailing adventure, and it was supposed to be epic, and it was a little lackluster for me. So I gave this 3 stars because of the beginning and the ending, but it ends kind of on a shocking note, kind of cliffhanger-ish, and there's a second one of these. So I'm kind of on the fence if I want to finish it or not. If you've read this series, or at least the next in the series, can you leave in the comments down below if it was good? Because if it is good, I'll give it a shot. But I don't know. It was a lukewarm read for me. It was a great start, and then it kind of just sizzled out a little. And then the next one I don't have a physical copy of because I'm in the middle of moving. So it was I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. And maybe it's because I committed the sin of watching the movie first and then reading the book, but I didn't like the book. I gave it a 2 stars, lucky number 2 again. And I didn't understand the vampire creature things, because in the movie it's not vampires. It was just a mess for me. I just didn't like it. It's like I always like the book better, like 90% of the time. But with this one, I really enjoyed the movie, and I won't be reading that book again. In fact, I'm probably gonna unhaul it here pretty soon. Well, once the world opens up again. So maybe not soon. Soon is a bad word. But whenever the world opens up again, I'm gonna unhaul them, trade them in. And then this other day, I wasn't really reading anything. I was kind of doing homework and focused on other stuff. Plus, I just didn't really feel like reading, But then my friend sent me a graphic novel by email. So, of course, I had to read it. And it's Stranger in Hell. Stranger from Hell? Hold on. Strangers from Hell by Kim Yonki. And it was weird and creepy and enjoyable all at the same time. So it's about this, like, teenager, young adult guy who was living on his own for the first time. I kind of get the sense. And he was living in, like, a dorm or a very small apartment. And his neighbors are always, like, following him around and watching him. And it was just weird and creepy. But I ended up reading the whole thing in, like, an hour, maybe a little over an hour. But I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. I just don't know how to describe it other than the way that I just did. And then after that, I did not want to read, like, a novel per se yet, but I did kind of want to read something. So I read In the Dark Soft Earth, Poetry of Love, Nature, Spirituality, and Dreams by Frank Watson. I ended up giving this a 3 stars. And the poems are decent. They're average, to be honest. But this is what made me want to keep reading. That is artwork. And there's so much of it in here. I think most of them are famous paintings. And I am an art buff. I'm not an expert at all, but I love learning about it. And that is what kept me reading this book. Just this amazing artwork. The poetry was decent, but the artwork was what I was there for. So I ended up giving it 4 stars, and I stick by that. It was a pretty good read. It was a quick read. I especially love the pictures. I think I've already said that, though. And then I read I Was Dead for 13 Minutes, and Now I Want to Know Why by Sarah Pinburn. And I'm kind of on the fence about this one as well. So it's a mystery about Natasha, who gets pulled out of the lake by this guy who's walking his dog on the frozen over lake. And she gets resuscitated, and she wakes up a couple days later and finds out she was dead for 13 minutes. But she doesn't remember anything about that night. And this is kind of her figuring out what happened that night and how she ended up there. But all I can say is the person that did it, it was so obvious. I called it from the very beginning, but I wasn't expecting for this person to go to such extents as they did. So some of the content in this book is it did surprise me. And I didn't think that they would do that. But the person that this mystery is about is very obvious if you're paying attention. So it was a decent book, but it didn't leave me guessing, and that's what I like to go into mysteries with, is I want to be guessing till the very end. So for that reason, I gave this a 4 stars. But it is one of the 4 stars that I would probably read again, which doesn't happen very often. Usually I only reread 5 stars. Then I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. Go me. Because I've been saying that I want to read this since I got it in Book Outlet. Everyone knows what this is. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I am having a live about it on the 29th at 7 o'clock. And all I can say is it's Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I gave it 4 stars. Yes, I gave it 4 stars. So, yeah. That's all I can say. And then on audiobook, I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for the first time. Well, I read it a few months ago in physical form, but I wasn't reading it for me. I was reading it because my friend told me to, and I don't think I was really paying that much attention to it. Sorry, Amanda. But this time when I actually paid attention and listened to the audiobook, I just fell in love with that world. So much so that as soon as I finished that book, I forced my husband to watch Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the movie, for the first time ever for both of us. And I liked the movie as well. I fell in love with Hermione. Like, I adore her so much. I think it's because I see a lot of myself in her when I was her age. But I cannot wait to dive back into that world. I can't wait for the next movie, but I'm not going to watch the movie until I finish the book. Which brings me to what I'm reading right now. I'm reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which is the second one in the series, so that I can have a movie night and watch the second one. I am on chapter 11, and I believe that there are 17 chapters, so I'm pretty close, and I'm very much enjoying it. I've listened to almost the entire audiobook in one day. I don't know if I'm going to finish it tonight or not, but it's possible. And then the other book that I'm currently reading is For the Owls. It is Dark Rivers of the Heart by Dean Koontz. This is the Heart Ruin prompt. But see, I'm in a bit of... I have a problem. Because I have 4 books left to read for my owls. But I'm going to say 5.5, even though I have less than half of the second Harry Potter. Oh, wait. So 7, 6, 5. Okay, so I'm just going to say 5. I have 5 more books of the Harry Potter series. So do I go for my owls? Or do I go for the Harry Potter series? I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish the Harry Potter series because I'm so much enjoying it. But, well, see, with the owls, I already finished my career. And I got certified in Mer People Knowledge. And I just was going to do every prompt because I wanted to. But I might just finish the Harry Potter series because I feel like that's more important than the owls. But yeah, those are all the books I've read thus far this month. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please give it a big like and subscribe to my channel if you want more bookish content, because that's what I bring to you. So thanks for joining me on this wrap-up Wednesday. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.